Alright, here's what I got for lights in the wheel wells right now. And I was just using white versions, just like these orange lights here. Using white versions of those orange lights in the wheel wells. Which is fine for actually looking down in there and inspecting them. But it doesn't throw a whole lot of light on the ground. So when you're up inside the cab, you don't really see much down here on the ground. You can kind of see that cutoff line. So, nice experiment, cheap way to go, but it's time to upgrade those. So here's something that's been sitting on my workbench for a couple months now. Been meaning to get to, just haven't done it yet. But having finished up the rear bumper, this is part of what I want to do for the reverse lights. I'm going to use a couple of these. Now all you young kids love your RGB stuff. I did not get RGB. I got just straight up white. So these are basic white rock lights, and I am not going to use them to give me underglow. I'm going to use them to actually see stuff on the trail next to the truck at night. Alright, here we go. Decent enough packaging. All in a foam block. Gives you all kinds of stuff. You got a rubber isolator here. You got those little plastic washer things. They're giving you stainless steel. It's funny, they're giving you two different sizes. Don't know that I'm using any of those because of the way I want to mount it. If I'm figuring this correctly, yeah, that one would go on a bar. So that's why you're giving you. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that one's rounded out so you could put it on a bar or some sort of piece of tubing or suspension or whatever you got under the truck. Interesting. Well, once again, thin aluminum wire, but these don't draw a whole lot anyway, so it should be fine. 3 LEDs on it. Curious how bright they'll end up being. Alright, these little things have this cable chase that goes through, and you pick out to come from here or from here. But trying to pull this sheathing through there is a pain in the butt, so I just clipped it. So I just took my snips and clipped that little top piece off, and I can shove it in there just as fine. As you look at that, that would be a tight fit even with. But, yeah, small thing. Alright, my choice for mounting these up, lath screws. They have a big enough washer style head, they have a self-starting tapper. They fit in there nice and neat, so they'll hold this in pretty good. There's enough penetration to get the sheet metal behind it. Probably could have gone with an inch. I got 1.25 inches here. But this is sure to get me through the sheet metal. Now I'm not worried about tacking this to the bottom of my truck because given what I've done to the truck with sound deadening, it'll be self-sealing holes. So we'll be alright. Okay, so for these rock lights, they do come red and black. You notice I'm going to white. I'm staying with white because that's the convention you use at the rear of the truck and the trailing harness. White is usually ground for all that stuff that ends up under here, under your or above your trailing bar, tow bar, whatever you want to call it. But the other thing I'm doing here is I got the heat shrink crimpers, plus I'm putting an additional layer of heat shrink on them. And since I have red and black, I am doing red and black to keep that done. Because I found a lot of times when you crimp these things, they do crack the shell and that can let corrosion in, so just another layer of protection seems to be helpful. And then I'll put some split loom on it, run it all the way to that side of the truck. The two lights I did have that were up here in the bumper, I'm going to use that harness to tie these two lights that are on either side of the truck at this position into the reverse lights. So those will go to the reverse light, so I get light right under the reverse wheel. And you notice I bought 2 of these kits, so I've got like 8 of these rock lights for this big beast. Because Suburban's a big truck, you got a big extra cab, long bed, crew cab, short bed, whatever, then 2 of those kits is probably about right to get you the light you need under the truck. And again, I'm not going for an afterglow. I did not pick up RGBs. I'm not going for that underglow, afterglow, whatever the heck it is. I'm going for light, usable white light for when I'm off-road. So these will light up all the ground while I'm backing up on the reverse switch. The other ones will be on just the dash switch. And their purpose will be to light up the ground next to the truck and a little bit in front of the truck too, on the ground, which will help nighttime ops. But one of the other little cool things I picked up, figured out these pipe lighters give you a little blue butane torch type flame. Inexpensive. Picked it up at my local Kroger's at the checkout lane. But these are sweet for doing this heat shrink stuff. So instead of getting yourself a big giant butane torch, which I've got one of those too, this is a lot more handy when you're underneath somewhere tight. A little small controllable flame that absolutely cooks those things and melts them down pretty quickly. Alright, I'm going to get back at it. Okay, so here's where I decided to mount them underneath here. On the back side of the infab steps, there's these little, well, kind of a pad, but it's how the mounting system goes. It makes it pretty perfect. It gives some protection here and has it up there. The other one's up front by the other step, and that should give me plenty of light right in front of this wheel and right behind that wheel, which is what I'm looking for. Any of the other options I was looking at up in here didn't really give me what I wanted. They'd be tucked too far up to get light, and then they're going into the floorboards, or they might poke out into the cab itself, unlike the one in the back, which is kind of a box section of the rear of the cab. So these are where they'll be. Quick functions check. Yep. You can see it in the daylight. When it's dark, I'll get a better shot of it. So those ones I used the wiring harness I already had in place for the lights that are up in here. I got those strip lights up in there. So just use that same harness, just tapped into it, now they're in there. And that is why I used, I got 14 gauge wire I used, which is totally excessive for what this is. But I knew I'd want to tap in more for these lights, because now that gives me lights behind this wheel and in front of this wheel. The ones back there will only be on during the reverse circuit, because that's where they're tied into. So this gives me there, which honestly for nighttime camping, that kind of stuff, it'll also be a good step for getting in and out of the truck. But now I've got to figure out where I'm going to put them up front to give me light in front of the wheel. I'm not really certain how I'm going to do that. And there you go, you can kind of see the light that I'm getting in the reverse. Got the truck in reverse. So there that is. I think it'll work. We'll see at night when I actually turn it on at night, but I actually get light behind the rear tires, which is what I want, right there behind that tire. So we'll see. Alright, here's where I put them. One on each side, tied into that same circuit that has, if you see that LED strip right up there. So tied into that same circuit. And that's all the circuit that brings everything on. So that's on a switch on the dash. So 6 of these lights are on the switch on the dash and 2 are on the reverse circuit. So that's all 8 lights used up on a Suburban. But this should give me plenty of light right here in front of the tire. Here's the front tire. That should give me what we need. Next thing to do is take this out when we don't have the sunshine. So yeah, we'll take it out when we're at dark. Alright, there we are. There's the lighting profile now. A lot more light around the truck. From inside the cab, it doesn't look this good. But I do like the fact that I've got the 2 lights right there at the steps. I didn't put it in reverse, but in reverse that is not giving me as much light as I might have liked. It's also curious what I look like on the rear for the license plate. You can tell it's there. But yeah, not too bad. That's much better than just these wheel arch lights we're doing here. A lot more light. If you're doing some night wheeling and someone's spotting, it'll be a lot easier to see what's going on. But yeah, I like this update to the profile. Yep, and there it is. Alright, if you come this far, I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you on the next one.